I'm back. It's yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I figured let me at least I guess try pointing out why I wanted to cover this with you cuz I figured that okay, so I saw that you had already covered cowards with Kota here. Kota here is already pretty base. Let's just clarify that. Now,
Thanks, man.
let's see.
Thanks.
Okay, I got to flex my cowards vinyl, but this album right here when I listened to it myself, felt very krautrocky from in my point of view. There was a bit of an experimental edge. It wasn't psychedelic like all the earlier stuff, like this album right here, Tago-Mago, but it
Yeah.
was still pretty krautrocky. And I figured if I had the opportunity to be able to do an episode covering a classic krautrock album with the two of you, that might actually be a pretty perfect idea, and perhaps see if Kota would enjoy more of this classic krautrock kind of.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as we were discussing earlier in the group chat, that wasn't really the case with this album.
I I'll explain why later, but I listened to it again like this morning. I really wanted to give it a try one last time. I hate it. It's horrible. I fucking hate it. I'm sorry for that. It's
I'm
just
gonna I'm gonna do my best to convince you otherwise.
yeah. Yeah, please explain me, explain me, teach me, teach me. Oh.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh no. He This guy only started making music in his 30s, so yeah, no.
Mhm.
I guess so. All right. So, I myself am not too much of an expert on it, but I have heard enough of it to at least be able to give you some sort of vague description of what it really is. So, it's basically right here. It's supposed to be from Germany, and it's mostly just Germany's own brand of experimental rock that was mostly borrowed off of psychedelic rock starting in the late 60s. As you've seen before, the first Can album came out in 1969, Monster Movie, and it already has one hell of a psychedelic edge. That's what they would kind of continue working throughout their next couple or so albums, at least through the Demo Suzuki era. And this basically follows like the post World War II era of Germany, where it's split up into two halves, as you're familiar with. You might be familiar with the whole East Germany, Soviet Union control sort of thing. There was that rebellious spirit happening on both sides of the country. No, who wanted that Soviet influence just out of there. That it was unnecessary, and Can, in a way, along with some of the other krautrock bands, were pushing that experimental edge, trying to push those boundaries, trying to test the limits, if you will, of music, and that itself embodied a rebellious spirit that was held among a good amount of the German people here. And look, we got a Baron of Faust that basically they were trying to ditch all previous conventions of rock and roll that were simply too rigid and just trying to do something completely freeform, free from control. That is the key phrase here.
Mhm.
Okay, I'd say, well, like I said, I haven't heard too much. But Monster Movie, definitely a good example. It's not as experimental as the other albums. As we're gonna see soon, Tago-Mago was basically that ballsy change in musical direction in the band's discography. Think of it like Origin of Symmetry by Muse. It was a completely ballsy
Yeah.
change in direction that ended up being something good for the band. And let's see. Okay, not Krautrock. They came in a little bit later. I'd say Amon Duel's first incarnation was also pretty psychedelic. That's also worth looking into. Yes, yes, that it's like a super consistent beat. That's one of the main bases of Krautrock. Not all Krautrock is usually structured like that, but a good amount of it is focused on like the motoric beat where you got the three bass hits and then the snare. That's like the bait. That's like the car drive beat of a good amount of Krautrock jams. You look at Hallo Gallo by Noi. That's a perfect example. Moonshake, also another good example. There it is right there. Hallo Gallo, yeah, by Noi. Yeah. Yeah, like I said with the whole car driving analogy, it's mostly supposed to represent like a moving car, how constant the drive is. In that song, that drum beat basically stays the same for the entire 10 minutes. They only adding in a bit of snare fills and rolls, but that's basically the whole song when it comes to the drum beat itself. Very continuous. Yeah, Damo Suzuki. They originally found him outside a cafe just busking there. He was like a street performer and he had been arrested several times before for his antics, but they figured that they could pick this guy up right off the street cuz he seemed like a genuinely kind of goofy guy. And little did they know they ended up making three of the best albums ever made in the 70s with this crazy Japanese dude that ended up like in freaking Zurich. No, it wasn't Zurich. I can't remember where they got him exactly. Malcolm Mooney, yeah, he was originally British, and he was there for the first album, and they also had a second album recorded, but that wouldn't be released until like 1986. It's what you see in Can Delay 1968, if you've seen it on streaming or anywhere on their discography there. That's basically their second set of recordings with Mooney. And he also came back for the band's last album, Right Time, but that from what I heard was dog shit. No, don't bother. Um, yeah,
No, no. Why would I? Why would I? I didn't like this one. Why would I want to suffer more?
because
No,
because
please
they
no.
because okay, so Malcolm Mooney. Malcolm Mooney has a bit more of a laid back edge than Damo Suzuki, who's a little bit more boisterous, even on stage. You could definitely you've seen the live performance of Paper House that they did on TV where Demo's just dancing just like that. Yeah, Malcolm Mooney was more of a laid back kind of. He was much more chill.
I'm not sure that's the problem. I
I'd
think
say
it's a whole.
it's less stupid sounding than those two songs you didn't like on Tago-Mago, and Pecking O. I will
Well,
tell you that.
yeah. The I like the instrumentation. The instrumentation is really cool. Like on the start of Oh Yeah, like you got this rhythmic, like you explained, rototnik or something like that.
Mhm.
Motoric, yeah. I like it because it brings the song really nicely, and then you got this reversed vocals that gives soul to the song, and then he sings in Japanese because I guess yeah, I really like that. Mushroom as well. I was like, why is talking about mushroom? Is the guy high? And then I searched and it was like, oh fuck yeah, that's smart. Yeah. Paper House is great. Bring Me Coffee or Tea is pretty cool. It's a nice closure to the album, but and Hallelujah is great. No, it's good. It's nice. Please make it 10 minutes, not 18. Why? It's at
It
some moment
deserves to
it
be a
just felt like it could be in two songs. It could be two songs, not one, not one big thing. Why? Uh, and then you got the two monsters in the middle, 17 and 11 minutes. Fuck that. Yeah. Mhm.
Up to that point, yes. And also regarding the whole drifting thing, I've seen a Krautrock playlist for Focus. So that probably explains a little bit of that. Like it's supposed to be hypnotizing. But
Yeah, I think
yeah,
I, I think I read on the album that it has this kind of shamanic vibe. They explained it as a shamanic album, and I kind of get it with I'm gonna and Pekingo because there's no real lyrics in it. It's just him making what the fuck whatever he wants, I guess. The difference with Alleluia is that in Alleluia there's first lyrics and then it has a meanings. The meaning is just a man slowly drifting into madness, as a if I read that correctly. But like I don't find the purpose, and that's why I don't really like in the two middle songs. And you explained to me that if you take those songs out, the soul of the album is away from those two weird songs. And I'm like, why? Why making those songs into the album if it doesn't serve the album purpose?
For me, I think it's just really to continue the theme of ballsiness that they tried pushing with
It's
that album by going okay, they already went a step further by making those other tracks like Hallelujah with the 18-minute long jam session. The freaking oh yeah with the super strong ass motoric beat right there. That's like
yeah.
a I guess you could call it a little bit punky. Even then, early
Mhm.
Noi was characterized as proto punk, so I'm not. Um, those other tracks were already ballsy enough, so the band, I think, wanted to go even further and throw in these funky ass tracks like
Why?
Pecking O going just like that right there. I think I think it's beautiful, really, that they were able to do that. And then just throwing like a really fast drum machine part in the middle of the song. It's so stupid, but it's beautiful the way they made it sound stupid.
Beautiful. It's not. No. I,
Egebamyasi, yeah.
I, th-
Compared to the
I
other
go by the
Can albums, it still continues the psychedelic stuff from Monster Movie here. Monster Movie was just more traditional when it came to the psychedelic aspect. Soundtracks is like a compilation album. It's got some demo songs on it, but also some Mooney songs, so it's a bit all over the place. But you could tell they were trying to mellow down a little bit. But then Tago-Mago just sees them going wakata wakata with the ball again, the ballsy change in musical direction.
the
And then
ballsy.
and then Ege Bamyasi was them trying to mellow out again, and this was basically their most accessible, their most commercialized album. Super compact. The longest song on there is like 10 minutes long. It's still pretty good. It's just that it's not as, groundbreaking as Tago-Mago here, but then Future Days is like the final ace in the hole for these first 5 albums. And that was when they got a little bit more psychedelic than Egebamyasi. Not as psychedelic as Monster Movie and Tago-Mago, but that's when they started to incorporate electronic elements and they went ambient in there. And they had Bel Air, the 19-minute long jam session that they did without any air conditioning in the studio whatsoever. That is absolutely crazy, if not perhaps crazier than Hallelujah. But in any case, this episode's not about future days. Save that for another day. Tago is what's really a focus here. Well, I remember hearing some of the more accessible songs on here, like Mushroom Head and uh and the Paper House. Originally, I wasn't too big on Paper House, but I ended up liking it a little bit more after a couple more listens. Just in general, I used to have those songs on my rotation on the mostly on the first half, and then I decided to go say I gotta go through this album in full. Let's do this. And then I went through the whole album. As a fan of really stupid sounding music, I did end up liking Pecking O. Omgu, I was not that much of a fan of because it felt too long for me. It was, and mostly it was just droning yawns. Didn't feel like my vibe.
Yawns.
Picking O with the gibberish and how okay, I'm gonna have to say it now. How autistic it sounded. It reminded me of some of those crazy ghost podcasts like Fetus. If you're familiar with Fetus, you might know how crazy JG Thirlwell can get on some of their material. So it kind of reminded me of that. And then when I got to Bring Me Coffee or Tea, that's when I kind of calmed down. It's like the calm down after the high in Peking O. And that's basically how the album ends. And I ended up pretty much enjoying it. I don't think I like it as much as the more compact Ege Bamyasi or the more solid, the more consistent in a way Future Days, but it's still up there just for that first half and for Peking O sounding autistic as hell.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a good sign. It was a good sign in the band's discography, yeah. I originally thought it had something to do with Aleister Crowley having some sort of affiliation with the island, but I think I was completely in the wrong there. So I'm honestly not too sure. I assume it's more. I guess it's more so because that island is sort of out there. You never really hear much about it. The fact that it's close to the populated Ibiza, but it's just sitting there doing nothing. Okay, not doing nothing, but I'd say I'm trying to make an analogy towards this album, the way that it's just kind of out there in a way. Well, I'm not I can't read the band members' minds. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Well, what a classic Krautrock album is. No, no, no. I can't. No, no. We're not gonna. We
It's not.
can't mention Squid right now. I gotta resist.
Man,
No.
just say it! Say
The thing is,
it! You know it!
tell us when Squid is a Krautrock classic. Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
Is it a Krautrock album? How can I don't know.
I'd say
I, I don't
I'd say
really
they
have
were
a
generally Krautrocky when it came to their starting in Old Monolith. But
yeah.
regarding actual krautrock classics, well, I think this could become a krautrock classic in a couple years. Just give it some time. Um, Definitely the other two Damo Suzuki albums, Future Days and Egebam Yasi, definitely up there. Uh, let's
Yeah,
see.
they're out there.
Let me actually check on Rate Your Music. I wanna look at the charts at least to see where these albums are at on the rankings. The Noise 75 and also the very first Noi album also highly recommended. Yeah, both self-titled albums. They're only really differentiated by release date, but oh yeah, Faust 4 is also up there. Amon Duel the Second with their album Yeti, also a great album from what I've heard from others about it. Hosiana Mantra by Popol Vuh, but that's more on the neoclassical spectrum. It's more of a new age album, if anything else. But they do have some other stuff that's krautrocky. And let's see if this is gonna load for me. Uh, Definitely some of the earlier Kraftwerk albums fall into krautrock, but you don't really hear much talk about it. I still recommend it just so you could hear the other side of the band before they went electronic. And I guess Autobahn is krautrocky in a way. I mean, while we're at it, if we're gonna include Autobahn, might as well include the first two Harmonia albums, Musik von Harmonia and Deluxe. And Brian Eno would eventually go on to work with those guys. if I remember correctly. Yeah. And yeah. Keep I honestly haven't heard enough of that album to say for sure that it's Krautrock, but it feels more dance punk to me than anything else. Oh. Uh, there's also I've also heard good things about Solvizol. Wait. Is it Solvizol? Solvizol Soul by Cluster and also Zuckerzeit from the same guys. Ashra Temple also has some good stuff going for themselves. And Stereolab, pre Dots and Lutz Stereolab has a lot of krautrock influences, especially Emperor Tomato Ketchup and Mars Audiac Quintet. There we go. I got it. Anything else in this top 80 here that I should mention? Okay. Einsjäger und Siebenjäger by Popol Vuh. That's one of the more krautrocky albums from them. Uh, let's see. Laminated Denim by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard could also be considered krautrock, but I haven't heard enough of it to really say for sure that it's krautrock. Tortoise. I've always thought they were more post rock. I got to give it a listen myself because I was well. First of all, I'm not too big of a post rock guy. Second of all, I've only really heard Millions of Living Will Now Never Die. Only that one. I'll take a listen after this episode. Yeah, yeah. Most of this stuff's more obscure. It's not really gonna be able to find some stuff on here. I also heard some stuff about German oak. That's got more of a psychedelic edge right there. But unfortunately, there are a good number of Nazi era samples that were used on that album. So best be aware. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. I think
So,
me and Kota.
it's me. Yeah, I guess we both said this song.
I wanted to throw in the Japanese section. It's towards the end. I'm not. Ooh, yeah. Let me.
It's the most listenable part of the album. What do you want me to say? It got it installed a vibe that's really nice. You got this weird ambient sound, and you got the motorika drum, and it brings the sound nicely. As I said before, the reverse vocals are great. Then the Japanese part is great as well. Really, it's a good song. I didn't saw the 7 minutes pass with this one. It was really nice, a really good listen. Uh, yeah, it was the beginning of the end at this time because then there was Alleluia, 18 minutes of pure hell, and but it was the end of the nice tour. It was when I sent you the message where I was like, "Oh, it sounds nice." Yeah. So yeah, that's why I chose this one because it's a long song, but it doesn't feel like it. It's nice.
Hold up, because this song's still okay. It's not playing anymore. I had to close Spotify because it's glitching hard with the stream still running. It's 440, 440 in this song. Yeah. So feel free. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Oops.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, some of like the especially like the second part, it's kind of like nonsensical, like you guys mentioned. But like in the first half, like, what do you guys think about like the lyrics in
I'd
Tago-Mago?
say
I
they're a
have
bit
to.
cryptic.
Oh.
Mhm. Yeah. I remember them being really cryptic. But since it comes after Mushroom and it starts with some sort of explosion, I think it's like the aftermath of a nuclear attack, probably.
Mhm.
Mm.
And the more I think of it, the cover art of the album is literally a mushroom
Mm.
from a nuclear attack. So yeah, I guess the main theme of the album must be destruction, catastrophic event, end of the world, maybe because at the time the Americans discovered the nuclear bomb, and so not so long after, everyone discovered it and made some. So everyone was thinking World War III is coming soon. More with the Cold War between the Russia and the United States. So I think maybe this song is about this. I have to watch the lyrics. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll pull up the lyrics too.
Okay.
I'd say it most definitely. I can definitely see your point of view regarding the whole destruction aspect of the whole album. It's meant to sound gibberish because of how confusing the Cold War was already becoming. Note that by this time, McCarthyism had already had its effect on the United States with the whole blacklist and like saying, "Oh, I think you're a communist. I think you're a communist." That sort
Mm.
of confusion was more so worldwide and will basically keep going for like the next decade or so. As you could probably tell with my This Heat shirt,
Mm-hmm.
this is literally another good example of that. It's meant to sound chaotic and confusing. The entirety of Deceit is meant to sound like that because the band members were afraid of nuclear destruction during the Cold War era. And even though it's not as apparent with Can here, I can definitely sense that some of it is definitely being felt by them.
Yeah, I think if you watch the album as a whole about the fear of end of the world and nuclear bomb war, then Algme and Peking Go makes a lot of sense in that way because if in Mushroom it's the creation of the atomic bomb and Oye is the atomic bomb being released, then the human has nothing to do, so he become kind of crazy, like in Alleluia.
Mm.
And then after this, there's no more speech. There's only yawns, like you said, and gibberish. So it could make sense. But on the other hand, you say that it's pretty goofy, and so it's not very mature to talk about such themes with such a goofy manner. Yeah. So that's the idea I have of it. It's kind of weird.
Maybe it's like
Yeah.
being goofy to cope with your fear of the atomic bomb, right? Like
Yep.
coming. So
But
Yeah.
it does. I'm not sure about the theme of the album at this point because if you want to cope with the fact of fear of the end of the world, people are supposed to be confronted with it with this album because it's from the cover to the end of the album. It's only talking about this, and the people are not in the joke. So it's weird.
mm,
Ah, I really have difficulties with the two songs.
Maybe the band wanted to become the destruction themselves. I know it sounds really stupid, but I
That's
think
true.
that might be it.
I get. Well,
yeah,
yeah.
they're trying to destruct Kota's ears or something. Mine on
Ah,
this
yeah,
album.
that's probably one of the main goals of this album. They wanted to destroy Kota's ears here.
Exactly. I mean, it's there's really a lot of good ideas on this album, and I can hear where the Squid's influence come after because you said that Squid sounded kind of the same. I think. Uh,
They sound like
I can hear
Krautrock.
that. I can hear that at some moment, but it's like most of the bands that came and that were experimental in the 70s, the 80s. They got this weird vibe that I like in the modern era with Squid, Idols, and other bands that go a little weird, but they go the step further, and it's just not for me. It got that sound that's just not good to hear. I,
Yeah, like
when I finished this album, like earlier, I just put on Mezzanine by Massive Attack, and I had a
mm-hmm.
fucking heavenly
That's a good one.
moment in my ears. I needed that because this album just made my head feel bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think what my main like thought is like it's interesting, but to actually like listen to maybe like not like I like it's just to me like it's not something I would listen to like a lot. Maybe like
Yeah.
once or twice like a year, you know.
I could
Uh,
definitely, like I said, I would definitely have like the more accessible songs on rotation, but those two songs right in the middle, right there, with Ongun and Peking O, those I would only put on for the funsies, for the shits and
for the
giggles, if you
funds.
will,
The funsies.
Uh,
for the funny.
it's not the fact that it's long. like 18 minutes is pretty long, but that makes me think about this album by Swans that's called I have no idea, but there's this song that's like 34
Oh,
minutes and it's
in
few songs
To
in the
Be
same.
Kind.
Exactly. I really like this song. Even though I don't listen to it a lot, I listened to it one time and I remember I really liked it.
Mm.
It got it brings something really interesting and the lyrics are interesting, but if you take away these lyrics, I would have certainly not like it for sure. So
Isn't
it's
it?
kind of
Isn't
the
it?
feeling I have towards Pekingo and Augment.
Isn't that the same song where he says your name is fuck?
No, 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 no. That's Bring the Sun. To Saint
Now,
or
now I'm talking about Bring the Sun, Toussaint, l'ouverture.
yeah.
Yes. Yes, that's the one that I'm talking that yeah we were that I was thinking of.
I'm
That
not.
whole thing with how he sings and also the interstitched laughing parts in between coming off as like shame, if you will, that makes the whole song interesting. But
Mm.
Yeah.
in a way, it kind of drags on for a little. Okay, maybe I'm just getting tired of listening to 30
Uh,
minute long songs. I've already had my fair share of trauma with Daughter of Darkness by Natural Snow Buildings trying to
Okay.
do that in one whole day. But for me, if you make it gibberish, you make it sound stupid, and you keep me entertained for long enough, then the song's okay if that's the case.
yeah,
But
exactly. That's exactly the point. The idea that you need to keep getting entertained. I need new things in a song at some moment, something new
Mm.
that
Yeah.
changes. And the whole idea of Krautrock and the idea that the drum stays the same is not
Yeah.
entertaining for me because there's no new things that arrive that add like in Squid where the drums always changes and all the other instrumentation. It's so complex that I'm always I was listening to narrator. I don't remember when, but when I listened to it, after 3 years of listening to it, I was like, "Oh my god, I never heard this thing."
Mm.
And this new, it's new, and I like it, and so I love the song even more. But this, I never feel something new. It's always the same thing, someone gibberish or fucking yawning in my fucking ears. And the small thing that changes is after 4 minutes of nothing. So I'm not hooked at this moment. I just fall.
Yeah.
well,
I
if I gotta be honest, one of Squid's biggest things is keeping it constant. Remember that Ollie Judge also does the singing, so in order for him to
Yeah.
kind of be able to keep the vocals under control while he's drumming, is to kind of keep it consistent with what he's drumming in particular. That's and for me that it's been a recurring theme throughout their whole music. Hell, I'd say building 650 on here kind of has some parallels with a Mushroom Head with the same
Yeah.
similar sort of tempo, same kind of beat there, I guess.
Yeah,
You could
I can
definitely
see that.
smell the influence.
Yeah,
mm.
but y- the song is not that long. Wait, no, wait, because Mushroom is oh my fucking god, 4 minutes. They made it 4 minutes. That's fucking great. 4 minutes, so it's pretty short, so it works. And in 650, it's also 5 minutes, so
Three
it's
minutes, I think.
short enough so I don't get bored sim- by the same sounding every time. And even there's new things that arrive that makes it more interesting. In Mushroom, it's the same. There's moment where he screams, and it's cool, but he repeats himself a lot. There's not much lyrics.
Mm.
I- If you see,
Here, I'll pull up the.
Sure, it's a bit minimalist in that way.
Yeah.
I'd say where Squid really succeeds in this case is probably through additional instrumentation,
Yeah.
not
yeah,
just the drums. It's because starting with Oh Monolith, they were starting to go all over the place with a supplementary
yeah,
instrumentation. I'd say Swing in a Dream, very good example of that. They got all these sorts of chimes and bells just playing in there while Ollie is just kind of bopping on his drum kit and singing along to whatever kind of strange beat they concocted out of these
Yeah.
percussion instruments. That's where Squid succeeds here. Can just kind of didn't really see much of that clusteredness happening here with Tago-Mago. There are some parts where it gets really dense musically, but for the most part, it's more minimalist than what you see later on afterwards. Ege Bamyasi, I'd
Yeah.
say, is more musically dense than Tago-Mago here.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the idea. It lacks the complexity. I think if Pekingo and Agme add some complexity, more instrumentation, maybe as much long, but new things that arrive, more instrumentation, I think I would have liked it more because there would be new things that would hook me up. I don't remember on which song, maybe Alleluia, but there's a big silence in the song, and that is just a big drum arriving, and I'm like, whoa! And it's not in the good kind. It just feel unnecessary.
Yeah.
I, it feels like they don't know what they're doing. They're just messing with everything they have, and they see what they can make, and they say, "Oh fuck, we made something great." Yeah, it's artistic, but that's not interesting
Yeah.
to me, at
True,
least.
it does. Okay, I can kind of see where you're coming from, thinking that it's right now it's like overstimulated slop. Personally,
Yeah.
I don't identify with that too much, but I see where it's going. There was some overstimulation happening for sure.
Hmm.
And regarding the whole Squid thing, I'd say the best song on here that could possibly rival what Squid's doing now is "Bring Me Coffee or Tea," since it's a little bit more
Yeah.
off kilter than the rest of the
Yeah.
album.
I like that one.
And it also has a
Yeah.
similar chimes effect happening there too. It's a bit ethereal, really.
Hmm.
Yeah. I can
Now
see
let's
that.
see Can's influence on music, because I see Stereolab there.
Yeah. You
And
guys said Serial Love, and I put it before that. So
yeah, it definitely has to do with those strong beats and a lot of the other bands. Which I think it was Can's drummer who actually coined and pioneered the motoric beat.
yeah.
So
I
that's basically one of the main facets of krautrock that was ported over to other bands to come in the future.
Yeah, I listening to like the Ken like albums yeah, I just see it as like a stereo lab like thing. Like they definitely share like very strong similarities.
Like
You
I've
know?
heard a couple songs before from their singles comps and with Stereolab, I mean, and I could definitely sense the krautrock, the can influence just emerging from my freaking computer where I was playing these songs from. I could smell it just coming into my nose. It was plain as day, clear as day right there.
Mm. Yeah, you said you in the group chat you like the OCs, right? Do you think is there some similarities there? Like, can you give some examples? Because they're kind of there's a little like they're crowd rock, but they play it differently. Like, there's some crowd rock songs on there.
Yeah, well, I've seen. Okay, I can't be exposing myself as a heavy relier on Rate Your Music, but I've seen some of their albums tagged Krautrock Secondary on there, so I can definitely see where that Krautrock influence is coming from. I saw Floating Coffin was tagged with Krautrock
Mm,
Secondary,
i-
and
is that
I think
one?
it has something. I think it has something to do with maybe the drumming and the fuzzy guitars. Remember that this all came from psychedelic music, so there's gonna be some sort of correlation happening here.
Mm.
I think on a floating coffin, there's definitely some of that influence with the psychedelic fuzzy guitars. There's a garage sort of vibe on there. I guess garage rocky. I'm not that big on them to really say for sure. Maybe Mutilator Defeated at Last has some strong beats that I could see where that's coming from as well. But that's a little bit more that's farther away from krautrock than Floating Coffin. I'd say it really has to do with how psychedelic they get.
Mm. Yeah, cause like my favorite OC's album is like Face Stabber, and that one is I love that one. There's a lot of like
Oh yeah, that
good
was
one.
like super jammy. I can definitely see where that was going.
Mm. Yeah, do you guys have favorite lyrics?
I'd say the lyrics to Mushroom Head pretty very simple, get the point across, very and pretty easy to sing. And the Japanese lyrics from Oh Yeah also great too. Love to see Damo singing in his mother tongue right there. I would love to hear more of that like actual Japanese krautrock if that's out there. The closest thing that I've heard is Les Ralices Denudes, but those guys are plain psych. I want to hear actual Japanese krautrock if that really is out there.
Mm.
I have no favorite lyrics. Nothing.
Dang.
I really don't have. I guess yeah, mushroom. When I saw Mushroom Head, yeah, I like this one pretty
Mushroom
much.
Head.
It's pretty nice. That's I guess that's my favorite
Yeah.
of the bunch.
Yeah,
And pretending, wait, sorry, for interrupting,
Oh
but
yeah, go ahead.
pretending that gibberish equals lyrics, pecking O is definitely up there.
Mm. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
it's something up there, like up there, but reversed. So it's all in the bottom. Please, doesn't make sense. Please. Oh, my favorite lyrics. Oh yeah, it's so great. I love it. It's mind shattering. I absolutely love when you say oh man on this song
Oh,
like that's
oh
17
man,
minutes of your happiness.
yeah, like it seems like the consistent like thing here is that we like how they say the words more so than the actual
Yeah.
contents.
yes, my favorite part was when he went.
Yeah,
That-
exactly.
yeah,
That's really why I don't like this album. Doesn't make fucking sense. I hate it.
But you know, Kota, if you
Oh,
don't like gibberish that much, wait till you get on Cocteau Twins. It might be a little bit confusing
don't
for
know.
you.
I think I listened to Cocteau Twins once because the singer sang for Massive Attack. I think, if I
mhm.
Yeah,
remember
Elizabeth
correctly. Maybe yeah,
Fraser, she was
yeah,
featured on some songs
exactly.
in Mezzanine, yeah.
I think I listened to it, but I like it more because it was in the genre of trip hop, like Portishead. Portishead. I don't know you want to say it, but
Portishead, yeah.
I really like it better.
Mm.
Maybe gibberish, but listenable, of course.
All right, all right.
you know, I'm down to do
Well, huh?
mezzanine or how you say it by Massive Attack.
Mezzanine,
Yeah, mezzanine
Mezzanine.
Yeah,
or blue line
this
or
one is
blue lines. Yeah,
Blue Lines, I
I don't
personally
know.
like more.
yeah, that's my
I only
favorite one.
listen to Mezzanine.
Mm.
Only listen to Mezzanine.
Mezzanine has some better songs, but Blue Lines is just more consistent. And
Hmm.
actually, I think Protection's my favorite. Blue Lines is just second favorite for me.
I
It's
haven't
got
heard,
some good bass lines.
but yeah, I think we're trailing towards like the end. Do we have any like
Well,
thoughts?
for any Krautrock bands that you would recommend if you like this album, I don't like the album. I say it, but if you like it, Black Midi sounds
Mm.
kind of the same. I don't know if you get what I mean, but like, for example, at the end of Doctor on their first album, Schlagnheim, is going like this full gibberish. And I was thinking of it, and I was like, man, that's like Picking O,
BM
but
BM
better
BM.
because it's not 11 minutes of that. It's like just in the end, 2 minutes, but because that it got that rawness, it got that fucking man. I love Morgan Simpsons. I love his drumming. It's just great. This
Yeah, it's
man.
so good.
Ah man, I love him. I love him. He's always shirtless in live sessions. I love it. I don't know,
Definitely the
but yeah,
entirety of Schlagenheim if you want something noisy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just range.
Schlagenheim for me is the Black Midi must be the go-to band after Tago-Mago if you don't want to listen to more Tago-Mago.
Mm.
And like I said, those other Krautrock albums I mentioned, definitely,
But if you
definitely
had to
check them
distill
out.
it into one,
Distill it into
if you
one album.
yeah,
Oh
Okay,
man.
I
You gotta...
think it's gonna be this.
Yes!
Okay,
Yes!
okay.
finally.
I'm gonna say it. This album,
Ah,
if you want something recent and something very good that basically everybody here enjoys, definitely check
Mm.
this album out. It's not
yeah.
as like strong in the Krautrock stuff as Tago-Mago, but it's got a fair share of influence from that album and other bands and albums from Can that I guess this make it into such a wonderful masterpiece here. This is definitely one of the best albums of 2025 so far.
I
This
would
is
agree.
up there with Pirouette by Model Actrice.
Yeah, I can see that. But have you listened to the new Viagra Boys album? Man,
Ooh.
listen
Well,
to it.
I have it in my backlog and I want to check it out because I think it could be in my top
Listen,
5.
I'm not a big fan of their first album. I'm trying to get into it. I really love the cave world, but it was still lacking something. But this one, I can say it, is my favorite Viagra Boys album. It's great. It's tender and rocky and it goes all
Mm.
messy, but it's great. I love hearing a man burp in the middle of a sentence. It's great. Yeah.
I
So
think this might be good. I can tell. I think this is definitely gonna be good.
Mm.
in good old fashion, it's a great album. It's, I think, a way as well to go after Tago-Mago. It got the kind of weirdness and silliness that you're talking about. That that kind of autism, but great autism because it's weird and it talks about good things. And I love the lyrics and the singer is great.
Yeah, I've heard they sounded ballistic before, so I'm definitely considering going through their whole discography actually.
Mm.
Yeah, should do that as well.
What about you, Audrey? What would you recommend?
What would I recommend?
What would
Yeah.
be the one album if people like this?
Mm, that's a good question. I would probably like say like because I have it right here like TNT by Tortoise. I don't know if you guys can see it. Wow.
Oh man, it's so white.
Yeah.
Yeah, the glare. Sure. Here's the album cover, I guess, for those watching.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I
Nice
think
cover.
I like it because I mean this is for me like post rock is my crybaby music, and I think it's more interesting than any other like post rock album or band I've heard, and they fuse like jazz, post rock, obviously, and krautrock at towards the end. So I think that'd probably be my go-to.
I guess in a way you could I even though I haven't heard the whole album in full. I guess from what you're saying here, they're like a Krautrocky or
Oh, sorry, you cut out talk talk. You said.
like a
Yeah.
Krautrocky or Talk.
Yeah. Don't they sing in the band Talk Talk? I
Yeah, Talk.
yeah,
I don't know if you're talking about Mark Hollis.
I because I haven't really heard anything from Talk Talk, but yeah,
Oh, you gotta get on.
I got you, bro. Yeah, I've heard good things about Spirit of Eden, so I got it.
Spirit of Eden is good. Laughing Stock is probably their best album.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, that would be my recommendation, and yeah.
I respect it. I respect it.
hmm And so the last song that one of our guests that are not here suggested. This one is
Sister
Oh
Monet.
yes.
Halua.
Soldier fallen into battle.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, do we have any justifications for why?
I'd say it goes to show how good krautrock can be when put into a jam session. A lot of
Yeah.
live krautrock performances, especially from Can, were basically just live shows separated into different jam sessions. That's basically the whole show.
Hmm. All
So
right.
this is like a good example of that put into studio form.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's play segment.
Hold on.
There you go. All right. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching the video. And, thank you guys for showing up. Sorry that you didn't like it, Kota.
Yes, that's the risk. But
Yeah.
at least I listened to it
Mm.
3 times.
And yeah. The next episode will be on Knife Play by Shushu. So get ready for that.
Oh, wait.
Shoo.
Wait. Oh man, that's a good album. That's actually one of my favorites from them.
Yeah, if you want to get on. I have some people that want to do it, some friends.
I would definitely love to join. Just let me. When is it gonna be?
Oh, I don't know. We're in the stages of planning it. But yeah, okay.
Okay, I think I can join. I'll see what I can do. If we could save it for a weekend, that would be perfect.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for showing up, guys. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.